instead. This is just one of the many tips and tricks for the Forge on Roblox that I'm going to be teaching you today. I'll be showing you the fastest ways to earn money, the best pickaxes you should save for, the types of weapons you should craft, and so much more. If this video ends up helping you, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and of course liking the video definitely helps too. But with that said, let's get right into the video. Our first tip has to do with money. It's what you'll use to get better picks, upgrade your weapons, get potions, and yeah, you know what money is. If you're just starting out, of course, you'll be doing the tutorial, but alongside the tutorial, you can do the Bard's quest. You can find him right here, off to the right of the spawn of the first world. You can just walk up and talk to him. He'll mention that his guitar is lost, and to find it, all that you have to do is hug the left wall of the cave, squeeze between these plants, and you'll find his guitar right on the ledge here. Return it to him, and he'll give you $1,000. The next tip on getting money quick is going to be right after you finish the tutorial. Go ahead and start mining the rocks in the first cave. Not the pebbles, just the rocks. And try and save 30 of the banana ores. Because once you can get to the second island, you can turn left right after you spawn, go straight to this small island and talk to this little monkey dude, who will give you $10,000. Just make sure that you choose the 30 banana option whenever you're talking to him. If you've made it this far into the game so far, though, you definitely would have killed a fair few enemies, mined a good few ores, and if you haven't, well, how'd you get this far? Literally just click on your backpack, click index, and scroll through the 3 different tabs until you click everything that says claim. You get loads of money and XP just for having played the game. You may also know this because it should go without saying, but talk to any of the NPCs in the area. They can offer you quests that you can do alongside the main quests, letting you complete multiple tasks at once, and getting more money just that much faster. The last major tip to getting a ton of money is going to be just selling useless stuff. Whenever you get later in the game, make sure that you sell any weapons and armor that you are not currently using or do not intend to use, sell any runes that you know are never going to be of use, and consider even selling some ores that just are not going to be something that you'll ever use. Are you really going to need to hold on to all that iron? No, just sell it. The next group of tips are going to be relating to pickaxes, because now that you have some money, it's time to pick out a pickaxe. Since the pickaxe is going to be the main way to progress in the game, a lot of people just fall into the trap of getting the better pickaxe as soon as they can afford it, mainly of course in the first island, but honestly you don't have to do that. By this point, if you've done all the previous stuff, you gave the monkey his silly bananas, the first thing that you should ever buy is going to be the cobalt pick. It sells for 10k, and it can mine you most of the rest of the stuff that we're going to need to be able to save up for some of the better pickaxes. The 2 that I would try and aim for are mithril and lightite, I think is how you say it, and those are both going to be fantastic options to grinding better ores just that much faster. So don't just buy a better pickaxe just because you can afford it. Another tip though with buying a better pickaxe is whenever you do actually go to buy a better pickaxe, try and keep a copper pickaxe on you, that way you can sell your better one and make an extra good bit of money back to put towards the new pickaxe, if that makes sense. Now that you've gotten a better pickaxe though, where should you actually use it? The best places that I would say to AFK farm are going to be a little bit past Amber inside of the volcano island area thing. And these 2 rocks will spawn with this little overhead above it, and you could just sit there and grind out a ton of decent ores. Especially if you did actually go with buying the cobalt pickaxe, it'll break pretty much anything that's going to spawn here. If that spot's taken though, another good spot is actually just the random rocks that are going to be at the entrance of the cave. Nobody's going to be farming for the ores around here, and you are still able to get some pretty decently rare ones around these areas. And of course, you'll be able to break pretty much anything around here with your cobalt pickaxe, no problem. There are better spots to AFK mine, but you're going to need better pickaxes, and we will talk about that a little bit later in the video. But let's say that you're not AFK mining, you're actively wanting to play the game, explore, and break stuff as you go. I have another tip that'll save you a lot of time and let you get better ores faster. Whenever you're hitting an ore, provided that you don't one-shot it, when you get it to about half health, you'll see that you can actually see the items that you're going to get inside of the rock. Now, sometimes it does bug out and doesn't show it, or the item will be flickering, so do take this with a grain of salt, but if it's half broken and it's just filled with garbage, you can either let it regenerate, or you can just move on to the next rock and come back to that one later. This is particularly useful whenever you go to the volcanic depths, because these lava volcanic rock things, about half the time, just have nothing good in them, so you can half break it, let it regenerate, but again, you're gonna need a better pickaxe, and we will talk about that a little bit more later. Besides pickaxes though, something equally as important are going to be your weapons. Half of the quests that you're going to be doing revolve around killing enemies, and of course you need weapons to do that. But what weapons should you actually try and craft? Now most people say that you should stick with some smaller weapons, because you're a lot more nimble with them, especially if you don't have very good armor. You're not going to be sitting up in someone's face tanking a bunch of hits. So the 2 best weapon types that the community is pretty unanimous on are going to be katanas and gauntlets. You can make pretty decent daggers too, but the 2 main ones again are going to be katanas and gauntlets. I personally go with katanas just because they have a little bit of extra range, but with gauntlets, I believe you get better DPS overall, but you just have to be a lot closer to actually land your hits. So try and focus on just crafting those two items, again, specifically early game. You want to try and make as decent of a weapon as you can without going super overboard and making something absolutely massive. In general, I haven't had a ton of luck with the giant weapons anyway, so I just keep getting slimed out when I try to use them. But of course, that brings us into our next tip, which is going to be just learn to use your weapon correctly. And I don't mean just learn how to left click, it's super simple. What I mean is learn enemy attack patterns, learn when to block, learn when to dodge. So just learn how your weapons actually operate whenever you're trying to actively fight enemies. I know, again, it seems very obvious, but a lot of people tend to just run headfirst in, swing their weapon until they die, and then just get mad. But if you do have a decent weapon that you're happy with, you can actually make that weapon thing where you just generally make the weapon a bit better. But runes are going to be the real way that you can like change the core of the weapon to make it basically a whole new weapon. So a lot of the time you can just kind of throw away runes. Okay, not all of them. I'd say they're definitely worth putting on your weapon, but you just have to keep an eye on which ones you're getting. A lot of runes that you'll see only have like a single substat where it just does one thing. Try and keep an eye on ones that maybe have two stats to them, especially whenever it comes to like getting a rune for a pickaxe. You can see that you'll have different levels of like luck